Right, guys, welcome to the Winner Circle on the It's More Than Just Money movement channel. We gave you a promise that every single Monday we're going to bring you a phenomenal or inspirational person that is doing amazing things either in South Africa or abroad. And what we are planning to do with the Winner Circle is to continue to deliver on that promise. If you haven't subscribed, please click on that subscribe button. Click on that notifications bell so that you don't miss any of our interviews. Now, today I'm sitting with an actuary. If you don't know what an actuary is, just take a moment and go Google it and then come back and finish up the episode, because I think you are going to be enjoying this conversation that is going to have a lot to do as well with the insurance industry. I've got a young guy who's making waves in that particular industry, and that young guy is Mr. Junior Mlondobuzi. How are you, my brother?
No, I'm blessed. I can't complain.
I wonder if the devil is trying to disturb your episodes or what. We shot your episode last year and we were planning for it to actually be out this year. But I thank God that there's always second chances. And we can have this conversation.
Greater good,
Sure.
We can plan all we want, but ultimately God's the one who decides how things work out.
Yeah. I always say that when I look at people that are doing stuff that I consider inspirational, stuff that is admirable, I always say I do see the glory around what they're doing and the accolades that they're getting from what they're doing. But I'm more interested in the story and the mindset behind that thing that the person is doing, because nobody just gets somewhere. Sometimes we look at people and say, he's lucky, that one. But we don't understand that there's a lot of work that the person puts in behind the scenes, or they've put in behind the scenes before, that we haven't seen. So with you, where does your story start?
Well, look, I'll tell you that my story essentially is a combination of many, many journeys in between. But I'll cut it short and just focus on some of the key parts. But a person that has been instrumental to my journey as a whole has always been my dad. He's always just believed that essentially I'm supposed to end up in this particular place and I'm already going to excel in this particular industry. So story goes back to about 2003. My dad's first, actually, he started earlier than that in insurance, but 2003, that's when he really started taking off. And my dad has always been an entrepreneur and so on. So 2003 starts in the insurance industry, grows his business, and so on. And I've always just wondered, how is this person, making money? You grow up, you watch your parents or somebody that's older than you, you see them doing something, but you're like, what is this thing? So I grew up in and around that kind of situation. But my dad always pushed me to excel in everything that I did. And for some part of my life, I got to high school. I wanted to be an accountant in grade 8. So I pushed, and accounting came naturally because my dad was an accounting teacher before his stint in entrepreneurship, and my mom too. So I think I got that from them.
Their genes.
Yeah.
Also, you inherited good genes.
Yeah, I got the better part of the genes, So fast forward, man, you grow up in a space where my dad always pushed all of us to always just excel. So in high school, my dad has now has a very successful insurance business. I used to sometimes shadow him. It forced me to come shadow him and so on, but I still had no interest in the field whatsoever.
Was it because you didn't see the money or what?
For me, I'll always say that I've never really believed in going into any form of business or any form of work for the money. Money is always a byproduct of what you put into that place. So I always believe in unlocking value. And wherever value can be unlocked, of course, money will be made.
So, but at that time, what is it about the insurance industry that was uninviting?
I didn't see myself in it. Everything just seemed so straightforward, so boring. And I don't like doing things that seem boring to me. And right around that time, I mean, I started my t-shirt business. I was 16, so I was designing and printing t-shirts just to make an extra buck here and there. Because I realized, man, there's a boom in printed t-shirts. So we unlock the value. You get a cheap t-shirt to print on. You sit at home. I've always been a tech guy, so you sit at home, find the best program to design, then find a print shop, negotiate good rates, get your markup 25, 30%. Oh, easy cash. You know, so for me, I just wanted to be an entrepreneur, but doing things that I enjoyed doing. So in that time, I never saw that being the insurance industry, but I was always being pushed towards that. Such to a point that, I mean, I'd have to find myself working in my dad's office, learning the ropes and everything. And then as a family, we branched into supermarkets. I think I was about in grade 11 or so. And now I shift from insurance to every holiday. I find myself there.
At the supermarket.
At the supermarket, learning the ropes. I mean, I started as a cashier, then went to the GRV office, receiving. So I know a supermarket like the back of my hand. But that also forms part of the journey where that's where I learned a lot about discipline, going after what you really want. And mind you, during this time I'm finishing high school, then I continue my supermarket stint throughout to my varsity days. So throughout to my varsity days where now I'm studying accounting. Get to second year, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
What, the accounting part?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like, look.
But it's something you've been good at since.
Yeah, I've been good at since, yeah. So being good at something doesn't mean you love it, you know. There's just some natural born talents that.
And loving something doesn't mean you'll be good at it.
Be good at it, exactly. When God then blesses you with a balancing this thing, then you must be grateful for that. So I never really still didn't see myself in insurance at all. We started a couple of businesses with my friends in varsity. We went into digital consulting and so on. I mean, we were too early to market. I mean, now everybody tells you about digitalization and everything. I mean, we started speaking about that in around 2014, 15. We were way too early to market.
So you guys were supposed to persevere for 10 years.
Yeah. And then... but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, the story has so many journeys that culminate into who I am today.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wanted to quit the accounting thing. I tell my dad, I'm like, look, I'm in second year. I really don't like this stuff anymore. I just want to go into the streets and just push business.
Do business.
You know, we've got this digital consulting thing. We had already started researching on how to use drones in mining to help them there. So there's a lot of stuff, you know, there's a lot of exciting ideas we had, but these were not businesses, it was ideas.
Yes.
And I'll come back to it again. We didn't even know how we were going to make money, but we knew where we were going to unlock value, right? But it just seemed like with a lot of that stuff, we're kids, we're too early to market. Those industries are locked down. So my dad's like, hey, man, I hear you, but that's not going to happen. In this family, whatever you start, you
must finish it.
So whether you like that degree or not, you said you wanted to do accounting, finish it, and then you can do whatever you want after that. So, you know, I pushed through it, finished that degree. And during that time, we moved out of the supermarket space later during my final years. And then when I graduated...
Do you think... Sorry, I'm just tempted to ask you this. Do you think your story would have been different had you quit that degree?
Yeah.
When you think about it.
When I think about it, yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I think it would have been different because it would have, you know, sometimes, right, certain behaviors are not unlocked until you actually act in that way. So in him not allowing me to quit, it has instilled something in me that whenever I set my mind to something, and I say I'm going to do it, I follow it through whether I'm enjoying it or not in that moment. So had I quit, maybe my life would have been
quitting.
Yeah, I'm like, if I don't like it, I've done this before. And then it just spirals into an habit, and then it becomes embroiled in my DNA. Whenever something becomes hard, you jump out.
Sure.
So, in conclusion, my story then, I go back into insurance. This time around, still with my dad, but now, you know, I have somewhat of an idea of what's going on.
So you quit the drone stuff
Yeah. I mean,
Marketing.
along the way, because we were too early to market. We didn't, we didn't quit the thing not working out.
First
just
lesson in
worked out.
entrepreneurship, fail.
You fail and fail, and it hurts
Yeah.
because you know what you've got is dope, but
Not
sometimes
dope enough.
you know it can be even dope, but when the timing is wrong,
Yeah.
it's just not gonna work. I always say you can design the most amazing product, but the true test is you taking it to market. The market will slap you across the face like you won't believe it.
Yeah. And the nice thing about the market is that their feedback is them withholding their money.
Hey,
That's proper feedback.
hey, man, even the greats have felt this. Steve Jobs knows it too well. Bill Gates knows it too well. You know, you launch something thinking, oh my word, I've got something that's going to change the world.
Yeah.
That's
Two
the
people
wrong.
buy it.
So it's a crazy thing, man. But I mean, my last stint in insurance before, so I go back. Now I'm working with my dad. We're on the municipal side, so public sector. My dad has always also been a specialist in public sector insurance. Now I'm back, so I'm a graduate now. Oh, by the way, the day I graduated, my best
You graduate in accounting.
That's my undergrad. So the day I graduate, right? So remember, I didn't want to do accounting anymore. So I graduated from UJ. My best friend had my degree framed on the day. And on the day, I gave it to my dad. And I've never looked at that degree ever again. He has it in his office now. But it was me saying, look, I did it. I finished it. Here it is.
I don't want to see this thing. I didn't want it in the first place.
Even though I'm the one who initiated and said, I want to do accounting. But for me, it's also a token to show him that thank you for what you've shown me. Every time you look at that degree and remember that your son's not a quitter, even when he doesn't like what he's doing. So yeah, man, my last day in 2018, we working. I mean, now I've had experience in insurance. I wrote my RE exams 2016, a long time ago, because my dad, he's always believed that I'll end up in that.
RE exams is what? For those who don't know,
so it's the regulatory exams. So obviously the first one is the RE5, which allows you to act as a representative to offer advice. And then the RE1 as a key individual one, it's what allows you to own an insurance company or a brokerage and so on, to be a key individual and a director in there. So obviously with those, you can write them, but you still need to serve 2 years under supervision, you know. So I had served...
More like articles.
Yes, kind of, sort of, yeah. So you're from your date of first appointment. So obviously, with him having always pushed me into the industry.
And all the years
to write all those days and all the years I've worked. So now when I came back in 2018, I mean, I was already, 2 years in. 2018, I work, and then an opportunity presents itself for me to go study overseas, to do my master's in actuarial science, which over there they call insurance and risk management. For me, it's a way out because I flipping hated the insurance thing is still not in my head.
But how did that opportunity come? Like when you say,
so my dad,
opportunity came, it's like you didn't apply for it.
No, I eventually ended up applying for it. Look, I'd always wanted to go do my degree overseas. I actually wanted to go to the London School of Business and Finance. But, you know, like I'm saying, my dad always saw where I would eventually end up. So he looked for a program which was overseas, which was more in line with what he always saw that I'm going to end up falling in love with. So he had the foresight. So that's when he brought this program to me while I was in the office. He's like, yo, apply for this. So I applied, gave me a 50% scholarship on the tuition. And for me, I mean, it was a way out of SA, breath of fresh air. You failed in all these businesses. It's happened. There are too many.
Finally, you have a break.
You know, finally, you have a break. So I'm out. It's a fresh start. I know nobody there. But, man, that's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life because, you know, being somewhere where nobody knows you, you don't know anybody, it sort of unlocks your true potential as a person because now it allows you to focus on what's really important, which is what's inside you. And for me, being a Christian, it also allowed me to hear God's voice much clearer without distractions. So when I was there, man, that's when I finally figured out Look,
What did it do for you mentally? Like the fact that you were in SA, where you are surrounded either friends, family, you have people to bounce off ideas with, then you are in a new environment overseas. You know, I can imagine you get there. Mentally, what's going through your mind? And when you look back, how did that frame the way you think?
so, I mean, look, you leave the country, right? In your head, you're alone by this time. Yeah. Oh my word, it's really heavy.
Come machangani back or
Fortunately, I'm not Ramachangani back. I've been fortunate and blessed. Kuwansuke Kaya a long time ago. I honestly glad you knew where did they start. But I mean, it's crazy because all of this, I mean, I'll tell you, I packed my bags the night before I flew. Because it's still like the reality still hadn't sunk in of the decision that I'm about to make. So fast forward, I land in Italy, man. I get there. In my head now, I'm just like, now all the fears start creeping in. Am I going to be accepted where I'm going? Am I going to have a good time? What's going to happen with the language barriers? What to expect? I'm living in a foreign land now. Things we're used to doing certain things in SA. I've visited Italy a couple of times, but now I'm going to live there. What did I get myself into? So mentally, man, but I'll tell you, once I set my mind to something, I'll go for it. Even when fear creeps in, I go. It's like how I went to jump bungee now in Vic Falls. I was scared as hell when I was still sitting there, but I did it,
Yeah.
Because once I set my mind to something, I go for it. So from a mindset point of view, man, it just made me more resilient and stronger. And you being in a land where nobody really knows you, it's like a clean slate, right? So now it allows you to even go for things that you wouldn't ideally go for. It opens up this daredevil kind of thing, I was thinking on a completely different frequency, man. It was crazy because now I'm bouncing off ideas with people who they owe me nothing. So I can be brutally honest. And they come from all different parts of the world. I mean, now I have friends from Malaysia, Estonia. I didn't even know it existed. It's like a small country in the former Soviet Union. I've got a lot of other Greek friends, Italian friends, and all these people have shaped the way that I think right now because of the experiences that they came with. And man, I was bouncing off business ideas. And if you know, Europe and more especially Italy is not very friendly to entrepreneurs. That's why all the big companies over there are all family owned. It's like, okay, an idea, they have had an idea. Now it's 2-3 centuries in or 50, 60 years, this family has been doing this and they become dominant in that field. It's not easy for somebody to come up with something out of
For self-starters.
Yeah. So obviously I was working in and around designing whatever I needed to do for South Africa. And I fell in love with insurance, man, over there because of the way that they taught it. And I found a common ground because I really love tech. And I really love how tech can simplify a whole lot of stuff. And I said, okay, so now my love for tech, I mean, I'm not a coder, I'm not a programmer or anything, but I love technology and I love what it does. But I'm an insurance guy and I know how everything works. And me having done my master's, I know how the back end of everything works, the actuarial modeling and so on. And I know how to sell and how to structure and underwrite from my experience working with my dad as a broker,
Yeah.
So this I'm really good at. This I love. How do I find that common ground? And that's how Entrepreneurial was born.
So take us through that. I mean, this is an idea that was born when you were overseas. Is it born then in the midst of you pursuing and finishing your degree studies? Or was it born right after you concluded your degree studies and wanting to go back into the country, South Africa?
So, crazy story. Coming back to SA was not even part of the plans. My dad knows this. He wasn't impressed when I decided to stay. So, Entrepreneurship didn't even come about as Entrepreneurship. There was a concept I was working on called Pi Living. I was working on it.
Pi Living.
Yeah.
What's that?
Pi Living was a digital rental agency for student accommodation. I think some of the companies that actually came about with similar ideas, Digs Connect and so on. Yeah, so around the early days when they were also starting out and everything, we were already working also on the Pi Living concept. So obviously, the Pi, you share a Pi, so shared living spaces for students.
Sure.
Yeah. So Pi Living was a play on digitalizing most of that rental model and how we can put the power in the property owner's hands and also the tenant. And then the tech is just the middle ground. So, I'd been doing research on that, crazy research. And we wrote a lot of case studies. So now, time came for me to write my master's thesis. And then the idea came, this was God talking to me. And he said, look, write it on the survival of intermediaries / brokers in the digital age. And in me doing research for that, then I looked at, okay, how will intermediaries survive in this digital age?
Intermediaries are brokers.
Brokers, yes.
Yeah, between insurance and companies and clients.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how will they survive now in the age where now tech is taking over most of the distribution channels and communication? Then I just took a lot of the stuff that I was working on with Pi Living and I said, look, what if intermediaries were first movers in their space? So if they then went and built their own digital distribution models and makes them that more valuable to insurance companies.
Yeah.
Because the corporate wheels turn very slowly, especially when it comes to innovation.
Okay.
But for us on the ground, it's much easier. I come up with an idea today on how to sell something. We build it out, we test it out, and then we can take it to corporate and say, guys, we've worked this out. Can we plug into your system? Whereas with them, it needs to pass through the various board channels and everything. And this is what I learned when I was still overseas, because I had a job offer from Munich Re, which is the largest reinsurance company in the world. I had a job offer there to go work with them in the innovation lab. So, I've always known how to really innovate. So there's a trend there, when we came up with the whole digital consulting thing and then picks up. So I've loved tech. So Entrepreneurship comes about.
So all those failures were also playing a role
Yeah.
in you coming up with the business that you are now falling in love with, which is Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So I hear you mentioning something you even did in varsity,
Yeah.
the digital business.
Yeah.
You're saying at that time when now you're formulating the idea for Entrepreneurship, that also played a role in you building that concept.
A big role. So it just makes you realize that sometimes, you can think it was a failure, but it was just the building block towards what you are supposed to actually build. So as I was writing my thesis, man, I decided after presenting my thesis to the professors, I was like, you know what? There's something that they said while, we were doing the exit at school, where they said, whether you're going back to your home country or you're going to continue working, change the way that people see insurance. And then I was like, you know what? I've written an entire manual over how to build this particular business. What's stopping me from going home and just building this particular business?
Yeah, but what happened to the job offer?
Oh, yeah.
Now you've got this business that you formulated, and at the time, it's just a document.
Yeah.
It's a thesis, right? But now you've got a job offer that's going to pay you now. You've got two job offers, and they're offering you what, in euros?
Yeah, it was euros. So,
Yeah.
So
And as young as you are, at the time you could have thought, when I earn in euros, when I go back to SA,
Yeah, because most of my friends that I met over there, they all moved into, some moved to Germany. So my two job offers, I was fortunate enough that they were in Munich, Germany.
In Germany, yeah.
So
in the insurance space.
In the insurance space. So the other one was from Allianz, which is the largest German insurance company and also one of the largest in the world.
Sure.
So these people saw the case studies that I'd been writing, So I
where do they see them?
So the school.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, with the school, it's a specialist school. So you submit a whole lot of stuff and documents, and also there's projects that we worked on with inside our program. And these are real life. Obviously we signed NDAs, But these are some stuff are actually in practice now on the global scale.
And you guys came up with them.
Yeah, there's
See,
stuff that
like,
we
hey, I came up with the thing.
so there's stuff that we did, case studies and stuff that we did for a lot of the funding companies that, obviously the 50% tuition you get from these corporate companies. So our school is funded by a variety of consortium businesses.
Is that where for them they breed talent?
Yes, they breed talent there and also continuously develop talent. So most
it's like a Weber Wenzel wanting lawyers from vets.
Yes,
and funding the
fund vets and
vets law clinic. Yes. Okay.
So it's kind of that. So for them, it's kind of like a global school of excellence for that space.
For the insurance space.
Okay.
Is it number 1?
We're number 3 now. Our program is number 3 now.
In the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the number 3 rated masters in insurance and actuarial science in the world right now. When I was there, it was number 5. After our year, it moved to number 4. Last year was number 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think it's produced 26 series now. So they take about 32 to 35 people from all across the world. So I think it's in its 26th or 27th year.
Only 32 to 35. So you must be very smart to get into the program.
Yeah, or there must be something very special that you presented to them.
Yeah. Okay. So when you apply, you present something to them.
Yeah, man. You go through a string of interviews and tests and everything, especially coming from SA. Yeah. In SA, I know probably 3 or 4 insurance professionals who have went, and then a couple of other guys. I think maybe there's less than 15 of us in all the years who have gone.
So when you were applying, you were not just the boy from Zanin applying for a program.
No, not anymore.
Yeah. So because what I'm hearing is that because you had gone through the process of you did the accounting and you worked in the insurance business and you even worked in retail and you've done something on the digital marketing space, all of those things were what you were presenting and giving to them for you to be able to be considered.
Yeah. We did also some case studies. I had built some insurance documentation, a couple of white papers on how the RAF can use blockchain to sort out a lot of their problems. I wrote that and I presented that to Munich 3. They took it, and that's part of the reason they gave me the job offer, is because of how I had structured that blockchain white paper for most of the RAF.
What's the white paper? Take us through.
So, a white paper is essentially like, I'd say, it's a guiding document on how something is going to work.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a guiding document on how the RAF system that was going to run on the blockchain.
RAF is road accident.
Yeah. I wrote something based on the issues that I heard people complaining about. So for me, naturally, man, I listen to issues, the pain points, and I look at how can we unlock value in that.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I love doing. I haven't been writing as much case studies as I used to nowadays.
So you were writing that while you were in SA?
Yeah, while I was still in SA.
Who were you writing it for at the time? You were not in school.
I'm not gonna mention the.
But it was for a specific company. Or...
No. So it was me writing it to pitch to particular people who are then going to take it and pitch it to the fund in itself.
Right.
I was in discussion with.
You were seeing an opportunity.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'll design this and sell this solution to this person who can sell it to someone else.
I ended up giving it out for free anyway, because it gave me recognition already in Munich. So for me, it was a win anyway. And I wasn't going to come and deal with all the bureaucracy yet.
So you wrote it while you were in
Italy? I finalized it in Italy.
So you started writing it, got into the program, did your master's degree?
Yeah. So I finished it 2 months into my master's degree. Yeah, that's why I gave it them at the school to put in the pack also.
Sure. Yeah. And then when you got the opportunity now from the corporate companies, the 2 corporate companies that wanted to hire you, what did each of you want to hire you for at the time?
So Munich 3 needed me in the innovation lab, so I was going to be working with the head of innovations there. I was going to be part of his team. It's about a team of 8. They've worked on some amazing stuff, man. You know the company Lemonade?
Lemonade?
Yeah, it's an American insurtech company. So they worked on the back-end rating systems for Lemonade.
At the moment, I thought the drink, but I'm like, there's no way he's talking about the drink. Yeah.
So no, not man. What's that American one called? Isn't it? I keep forgetting their name.
Yeah.
They do housing.
Housing insurance.
Lemonade, is it Lemonade? Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm confusing it with Granadilla. Granadilla was a South African corporate one that they did. Yeah, it's Lemonade. So they'd worked on that on the rating system in the back. So the rating system is what powers your pricing.
Sure.
So when you then say I'm in Waterfall, this is the type of house, then it goes here's the rate, 500 for this building. So now they were going to take it a step further and work on another rating system that's based on geospatial locationing. So essentially, with most of the buildings, you'll get people wanting to come do surveys and everything. So now they were trying to figure out a way to make use of satellite data to then assess any building in any part of the world while they're sitting in Germany.
Okay, there's that for valuators now.
Yeah. Not in the insurance space, because remember, your rating and the risk has to come. We need to.
Yeah, but don't you use valuators in any case?
No, the valuators do use it in their space also. But remember now, we had to design it to work with our actuarial models.
Right.
Yeah, so we had to look at other crazy stuff, the land composition, the land mass and everything. So, that's as far as I can dive into it.
And then the other company?
They wanted me to be in business development. Allianz wanted me in the business development for Eastern Europe. That's where they wanted to start me at. That was my entry point. They told me about other roles that were going to happen later.
Well, the salary is too low. Did you look at it and say, it's not worth it or what?
No. Like I say, money for me, it wasn't a big sell. It still isn't even now. It's about the value and what I'll get. But what I had an issue with, I looked at, and I'll be quite frank with you, I'm a young non-European person. I love being excellent in what I do. So I always look at the growth perspective of it all. And I realized there was no way I'd get past maybe middle management or so as a non-European. Because remember, these companies are championing Europe. So they'll always obviously give the growth opportunities to somebody with a European passport. That was part of my reasoning. The salary was, I will not lie, the salaries were good for the way I was entering at. And they even allowed me to tweak it. They even went higher for a starting non-European salary at Allianz.
Yeah.
It was amazing. They even allowed me to
There's an actuary listening somewhere wanting. How much was the salary?
No, I can't.
It was a starting salary. People will say I started earning 3.5, then I earned 10,000.
I can't disclose that with, look, no, I can't disclose that. But yeah, so, and I never practiced actually. For them, maybe they wrote the boards and everything. I never wrote. So they stand maybe a chance of getting a much higher starting salary. So for me, I just have the qualification, but I never really had the passion for that. I was more on the other side. So yeah, man. And then I decided to come take a break, Nyana, to think about my life here.
After
the program,
we had those two opportunities. You said I'll pass.
3 months. No, I haven't passed yet. Remember, I have 3 months.
Before you start?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the July, come here. And then, yeah, man, I slept on these contracts and whatnot. I thought about it. Found something that I didn't even like in one of the contracts where it stated that whatever I come up with, from an innovation perspective during my contract period belongs to the company.
For both companies? They had
No, it was one of them. I'm not going to say which one.
The one you liked the most, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that kind of threw me off, because I come up with things a lot. I come up with a lot of ideas. And I was like, no, it feels like I'm selling myself now. So I'm sitting and, I have that thesis. I haven't decided at this point. And then this comes time for a visa appointment. I'm supposed to have a visa appointment on the 23rd to get my work visa. Right? The corporate company is paying for it. On my calendar, I accidentally wrote it as the 28th. I missed that appointment. And the company's like, yo, it's a problem because we had to jump so many hurdles to make sure that you're the preferred candidate even as a non-European. tell my dad. I mean, he wasn't happy. To him, he thought I did it on purpose, but it was really an honest mistake. But then, I mean, sitting on it 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I realized, look, God is really showing me something here. I look at my thesis again. I'm like, I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to start this thing. I don't really have a plan, but I'll figure it out. Yeah. And then that's when I started calling around and, trying to assemble a team and assemble some guys who could help me on the IT front, building this thing out. It's fortunate I met another friend of mine.
You're assembling a team where? In SA?
In SA, I'm back.
Yeah. So now the opportunity is gone.
The opportunity is gone.
You don't know, you didn't want it anyway,
No.
or you just missed it?
I missed it and then I didn't know.
Or it's first you missed it, you wanted it, you missed it, then you were like, I found it.
Yeah, I mean, I was 45% to 50% wanting it and not wanting it,
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great opportunity. Great, both of them.
But a part of you just wanted
a part of me has always said, I'm going to be in SA. I can have much bigger impact here. Always. So, yeah, long story short, assembled a team. We worked on something, building something. We worked on getting our license. We got our agency with Discovery. We started selling. We had our own way of marketing. And, I mean, we started building the business.
But how do you start? I mean, at the time, you're back in SA.
Yeah.
All you have is a document.
Yeah.
And, of course, obviously, you have your background in insurance within the family business and everything. But it doesn't sound as easy as you are putting it, the starting part.
It does.
So I want to get the understanding around that particular part.
The starting
part. And when you say assemble the team, what sort of people did you get involved and why? Okay. And what were you seeing that was different from what the insurance company that has always existed for probably longer than you've been alive? Here's an insurance company that you can work for. Here's an insurance company that you can start. Both of them are, I mean, this is yours, this is your dad's. I mean, a lot of people could have said, let me just join my dad's firm and improve systems and grow the business there. You said, I'm starting my own and I'm taking this journey and this route. That's different.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, right? I think it's somewhat of a hybrid journey that I took, because I did go into my dad's firm and improve some of the systems. And then I built my organization parallel to that, right? So even today, I now run the companies that my father founded. Both, so the two insurance firms he started, I now run them. But the main reason that I started my own is because I had a particular vision of how an intermediary is supposed to operate and how you can incorporate tech into simplifying a lot of the distribution and also the experience that customers have, more especially small businesses and startups. I mean, you'll see ads, they'll say they care about businesses, but they don't really care about the small guys. And that's the niche we wanted to play at. Because a lot of the little guys, they start small, but with the right support, they grow into something great. And we realized earlier on during my research that a lot of the small businesses actually don't make it past year 5 because of a lack of adequate risk management.
Sure.
Which can be translated to your insurance policies and the structuring around that. I mean,
because you can't structure it if you don't understand what the risks are, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about it this way. You've got a string of rental properties and so on, right? One of the tenants decides to leave the stove on, and then the entire block of those properties burns down. If now you just said, I'm building, I don't care about insurance, I don't care about risk management, as long as the property is there and I'm making money, I'm fine. Now that one freak accident happens, building burns down.
Hey, God forbid.
God forbid.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying.
Because even if you have insurance, I don't think that's anything anyone wants.
No, they don't want, but I mean, you're indemnified in certain situations and there's always way around things. But what I'm just saying is that it's better to have than not. And that's where the risk management comes into play. I mean, you look at a small, let's think about one of the most common businesses in SA Kokasi, you've got an internet cafe, you've got these old computers that you've placed there, maybe 3 or 4, computers that people come in there and everything. And then maybe you're making 1.5, 3 grand a week, right? Making 1.5, 3 grand a week. And then I pass by and I see those computers. I'm like, why? I break your window and I take all those computers. Trust me,
You've just taken 1.5 a day.
70 to 80% of the time, you don't have the reserves to go buy those computers again.
The one lady I was speaking to, in this platform, actually, she says she was raising money to start a couple of businesses back then. And back then, I think in the early 2000s, she raised money and bought 80 computers, put them in a hall, and she was making money daily.
Yeah.
Right? Especially from these guys that wanted to sit on the computer the entire day. Nigerians, she says.
Yeah.
But one day somebody came in and took all her computers, and security didn't even know who. And she didn't have insurance.
Easy.
That's how she lost her business. And she was making money.
You see. And that's another thing that we've been wanting to address is that, it's not about how much money you're making. Risk is inherent with business. It's there. The moment you make a move and you say, I'm going to filter water, you already put risk into whatever you're doing. So you need to understand that from the moment that you start your business, your risk management has to be within the DNA of that business. So money is a thing of making you feel invincible. So the moment you start making money, you feel like, bad things won't happen to me. You're like, no ways. No ways. You get me? But think about the July unrest. There are people who had their businesses. It has nothing to do with politics or anything. You just have your business somewhere.
Man, there were shopping centers that were not insured.
You get so now you get people like in your head. You're like, as long as it's not a fire, I'll be fine. And then now guys just come in and they're breaking all the wind. You'll never realize how expensive glass is until they break all the glass in your shopping center. So that's the space that we decided we're going to play at. But, I always say that insurance is insurance, right? Products are products, they're there, the structures are there. But it's how the end user experiences it that changes their perspective of the whole thing. So like they told us when we left school, go and change the perspective of insurance.
Do you think you've already started that process?
Yeah.
Changing the perspective?
Yeah, I mean, look, not to the impact and the scale that we want yet, but I mean, we're 3 years in, 4 now, but amongst all our clients we have, amongst all our clients, we've changed the way that they look at insurance, the way that they experience insurance altogether. And the most amazing thing is we've witnessed some of our smaller clients grow. I mean, we've had service centers that joined us and they only had 1 shop. Now they went to 9. And we've helped them through some crazy claims that, would have put anybody out of business if they didn't have, they were out testing customers' vehicles and an accident just happened, not their fault at all. But the way that their policies are structured, it allowed for that, for us to pay. And so essentially we've changed it. We've changed the perspective to about 100 clients or so now. We're 100 clients strong.
Sure.
Of all sizes.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great work.
God's grace. I mean, we stopped marketing 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we just wanted to focus on the fundamentals, the system and this thing. But the referrals kept coming in.
All of them being small to medium businesses.
Yeah, small to medium because how you've enjoyed the way that we've helped you with your insurance experience and structuring your risk. We have clients that literally sit even on weekends and I get a call and he's like, yo, I'm sitting with a friend. He's in the trucking space. Can you assist him? I want him to experience what I experience.
And you drive to them on a weekend to go sit and listen.
No. So in most cases, if they're around and I'm around, we'll drive. And then sometimes we'll sort out what we need to sort out. On the phone, we give them the link to our platform. Then they can upload whatever documents they upload. And then we take it from there. So it's been amazing. We need to leverage tech to stop all the movement. We can't build all this expensive technology and not make use of it. So we're sort of changing that perspective of the business industry. Like now we are the business insurance space. I mean, now we're working on an amazing product that we wanna launch. I mean, we wanna think about this, right? We're sitting right now. This is a podcast, right? You guys are creating content. You've got some expensive equipment here.
Yeah.
You know,
Our equipment is cheap. We don't have expensive equipment, ne? Our equipment is cheap.
as cheap as it is. Well, yes, I'll take that back. But we're recording from a cell phone, So, yeah, it's the most expensive thing is the mics. So, I mean, think about this, right? We live in a society where we've got a whole lot of content creators.
Yeah.
And these people are...
It's a big thing now.
Yeah. And they're investing heavily in this,
Yeah.
And they're walking around with 30,000 rand lenses. Just the lens alone, They've got cameras that worth hundreds of thousands and equipment. But if I tell you, I'll give you, only 1 in 10 of the content creators that I've spoken to have actually thought about insuring that equipment. Only 1 in 10.
Why do you think there's some dissonance towards insurance?
All right, I'll put it to you this way, right? It's a couple of things. Like in any industry, insurance is not immune to it. There have been some bad players, So there's always this thing, this fallacy that says like, yeah, I have insurance, but these guys always look for a reason not to pay.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's a common thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I think what really even caused a lot of these issues is that people are buying their insurance from the wrong channels, and the policies are not essentially underwritten correctly, especially business ones. I'm always against buying a business insurance policy via a call center, because the person sitting on the other side, no offense to them, they're just doing their job. The person sitting on the other side is not a specialist in business or business insurance.
Right. 1, they've never been an entrepreneur. They don't understand what your issues might be. 2, they might not even be an expert in insurance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, you've got somebody who's in the back of the phone. Their job is what? Sell, 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 sell. They have a script. It becomes an issue because businesses, you guys are specialized traders. I can't apply the same methodology to you as a property investor that I would to a recording artist who makes music. There are particular covers that are specifically for him that will serve no purpose to you.
There's no one size fits all, basically.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Everything is tailor-made.
So hence, if you go onto our platform and you select Get Quote, we ask you what industry you're in. So the input fields on the other side are tailor-made for your particular industry. So as soon as you click, I'm a fuel retailer, when you click next, all the questions that we need you to just fill in, which will take you less than 5 minutes for us to give you a quote. We won't give you the quote in 5 minutes, but for you to complete the request, it'll be less than 5 minutes, are tailor-made to you as now a fuel retailer. So we've worked this entire 3 years structuring all those fields and also applying my experience in the industry and dealing with various businesses. I think now we're up to about 9 industries that we've done now. And then obviously we have a general business one where it just has standardized covers. But we keep building on the more we get the standardized, covers. So they're tailor-made for particular industries. So now you buy via the call center, and then you find that they didn't cover it properly. And then when you have a claim, they repudiate or reject your claim just because the guys at claim side are looking for a particular thing that says this thing is covered when your laptop is covered when you take it out of the house. Do you hear me? But you find that now they didn't do a business all risk with worldwide cover. They just put it on electronic equipment which covers for it when it's inside a particular building. Most cases it would be your office building. So now you say insurance is a scam. But no, the underwriting was just terrible because they were fed information from a call center, which is not really accurate because they are not insurance professionals.
Yeah.
No offense to them. Everybody's doing their job. So, I mean, looking at even the global insurance market, South Africa, man, a lot of us in this country are what we call insurance infants. People buy insurance just for the sake of buying it, but they don't know why they're really doing it and what it can actually do for them. And that's...
They just buy it as part of covering risk.
You know,
there's no strategy behind.
The bank told me that I need to have insurance on this building before they give me a mortgage.
Correct, yeah.
You don't look at the value, you don't look at the exclusions, nothing. You get it? Because, like I say, man, everything is an art, every form of business. And insurance can't be excluded from that. But if your painting is terrible, it's going to make it hard for me to interpret it. So we have to get it right from the start. From us giving you a quote, it has to be accurate. It has to be to those specific needs. To avoid what? The issues that we have at claims. Because the guys at claims just look at your schedule. Whatever's written there to them is the Bible. They just say, hey, witness said he's covered his watch here, but his watch is only covered when it's in the house. But now it got stolen as he was walking into Mall of Africa. Oh, it's an exclusion. Bye. Claim rejected. You get where
there's no explanation
you get
in terms of why even that claim was rejected.
Now they'll write
or what an
about the
exclusion is.
exclusion.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean the rest is up to you and
people even read those contracts. Most of the time that
think about the common thing that's actually killing a lot of people right now. You have a car, right? You have a vehicle. It's your vehicle. You're an entrepreneur, and then let's say you're also employed, right? So you've insured your car on your personal policy. Most people, what they do is they'll go carry on their business stuff with that car, right? Let's say you sell acha on weekends. You'll go and pick up all the achas, load them there that weekend, you stand by the corner selling your acha. Your insurance doesn't know that when on weekends you're using your so-called personal vehicle
for selling acha. Yeah.
Something happens at the acha stand. People get angry. They say your acha is terrible. They start breaking your windows and your windscreen. Now the assessor comes and says, okay, what was the car doing at that market? You're like, I was selling acha. They're like, boss, you didn't tell us that.
That way I sell acha.
You moonlight as an acha salesman. You didn't tell us. So what happens? Your claim gets rejected.
Yeah.
Not because they don't want to pay for your car, but because you are doing something that is not allowed. You get me? Because when you said, this is a personal vehicle,
go from home to the office.
If I'm not going to the office, I'm going, if you're not married, I'm going to my girlfriend or to my friends. You get me?
Yeah.
That's what you do with. It's a personal use vehicle. You get it? But reverse it, you can actually structure it in a way where we can take that car and place it under your side hustle acha business, right? The car is in your name. You're the sole director. So there is insurable interest, right? So you can insure it under your commercial policy, which will also allow for social use.
In any case.
So whether you're moonlighting...
So is the social use automatic when it's commercial?
Yes. Like how we structure and with the underwriters that we work with, it's because it's a private vehicle.
Right.
You know, the more successful I become, the more connected I want to be with God. I am more connected spiritually now than I have ever been in my life.
Why do you think that's important for you now? I mean, that's a powerful line. The more successful I become, the more I want to be connected to God. Why is it important to you that the more you reach greater heights? For a lot of people, it happens other way around. The more successful
the more they
become, the more they deviate from God and His plans. But you are saying, the more I want to be closer to Him.
Yeah. So for me, I know what God has done in my life. I've seen it. I've made mistakes in the past. You know, many, many mistakes like we all do as humans.
Yeah.
God has pulled me out of some of the deepest, darkest places that I sit here being a testament of His grace. I am where I am because of Him. So the reason I want to keep getting closer to Him, the more successful I become, is because over the years, and I study history a lot. I mean, like There's a very famous quote that says, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
It rhymes.
It rhymes.
Okay.
As in everything that we see around us has already happened before. Not exactly, but in the same form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you then read and you understand that most of the greats, they get so fixated on their own greatness and the things that they've achieved that they make those things their God. And eventually what then happens? They crash and burn in a very crazy, spectacular fashion. Or there's some crazy scandals or whatever. Or there's always weird scandals that come out of all these powerful big guys. It's because they got to a point where now in their head they feel invincible. They're the ones, they're their own God. They run everything. But with me, I want God to be my compass, my guiding principle. So in any situation that I land in, whether it's here in SA, whether it's in Italy, in Germany, and I'm doing a deal, my guiding principles are always those that are written in God's word.
How can people cultivate their ability to hear God's voice? What do you think worked for you over the years when you wanted to cultivate that ability to hear him when he speaks?
I think first and foremost is always finding you. So I believe before you go to God, you need to find yourself. And it's crazy in our day and age right now, our society, where there's so much noise, right?
Yeah.
There are so many influences.
And influencers. Yeah. We are watching you.
Yeah. There are so many influences and influencers within our society that push us to act in a particular way. So what I'm saying is that you end up forgetting, I'm witness, these are my principles, this is how I grew up, I don't want to go back there because this is what I've overcome and this is who helped me overcome. Because why? Now you're looking at, that's Junior is successful, is 5 years younger than me, how did he become successful? And now you want to listen to what I'm saying, and then now you see my lifestyle, maybe I drink a lot and I do all these things, and then you get influenced into doing that stuff. You get it? So I'd say find your voice, listen to yourself first, surround yourself with the right people, and the most important thing to get closer to God is just meditating on the Bible, even if it's one verse every night before you sleep. What I've been doing as of late actually is the last thing I look at before I sleep is my Bible. Because I realize the type of dreams that I have when the last thing I look at is my phone. This is when it's word of God.
Busy looking at women twerking there on Instagram. And then you want to sleep and dream.
Sleep and dream in peace. It's the stuff.
Or you watch a horror movie.
And then you sleep and dream about demons and crazy things. So it's the stuff that we consume. They have an influence on us, and they make a lot of noise in our heads. Because oftentimes, even as youth, you hear, well, this guy made it at 26, this guy made it at 23, he made R1 million, and now you want to make it the entire benchmark of your life.
Yeah, you also want to make it at 23.
But who's to say making R1 million at 23 means this guy's going to be successful the rest of his life? Or who's to say that's the supposed benchmark? I believe, yes, we need to look up to people who achieve things, but you need to look, Ray Dalio said something like, so I'm reading his book now, Principles. Ray Dalio is actually the most successful hedge fund manager in the world. Yeah. His company is one of the most important privately owned companies in the world. And I've been reading his principles and his stories, but he also goes on to say, look, you read my principles and my story. This is my story. These are my principles that work in my organization and my life. So when you read them, don't say now these principles are my Bible and they're my guiding light or whatnot. No. You read them, you understand them, and then you ask yourself, in my life, which of these principles will work? So it's not to say if you didn't make your million at 23, you're not going to be successful. What if you may skip the making a million part, and the first time you hear the word million is 15, 20 million? the power of compounding, because it's about the work that you've put in over the years. So that's why I say, for me, money is not really what I use to measure.
But who told you that?
I'd say a lot of the principles I get from my father and watching it in action.
Yeah.
I mean, money is any idiot can make money. We can go win the lotto tomorrow, but what will you do with that money?
Yeah.
So it's also watching him, and that's why I say I've also been fortunate, right? That I've been blessed with a role model that I watched and looked up to my whole life. And now I'm fortunate that we're working together hand in hand. There's a lot of other industries that we're building things. I went from working for him, and now we're working together to advance, our family's position and all the investments. And that's how we got into, obviously, the petroleum and the retail space and the properties and everything, while still championing the insurance space. But, I mean, he's been an amazing mentor. Not the easiest one, but he's been an amazing mentor, because you look back, he's been hard on you all those years, and then you look back 5 years later, you're like, hey, if that guy hadn't been so hard on me 5 years ago, today, when I sit in this situation, I wouldn't be able to deal with 1, 2, 3, or I wouldn't know the answers that I know here.
Do you think life grooms us differently, or God finds a way to compensate for things people do not have?
God always finds a way to compensate, but remember, life is never meant to be fair.
Life is not fair.
No. It never is.
Why?
And it was never supposed to be. I'll send you something.
No, don't send me anything. I want to hear from you.
I'll send you something that is rather controversial, but I found it somewhere in the Bible. But also, even if you look at all the great stories, how many other people could God have placed in Samson's place? But he picked Samson to be the Nazarite.
Okay, let me give you my thought on that, right?
On life.
What you just said.
On life being fair.
I don't think it will ever be fair.
No.
I mean, Moses could call God and talk to him face to face. You can't. Exactly. I can't. You know, it tells you he's special. You can try and debate it however way you want it. Moses was special because he could have a conversation with God face to face.
Exactly.
Jesus was special.
And he was chosen.
Yes.
So the thing is, what I'm saying, right? And this is where I have an issue with where our society is right now.
They want equality.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
And not only that, but me having seen...
Hey, that's a controversial statement. What I just said. Equality does not exist.
But
you know why I say that? Because entrepreneurship will always create inequality.
Of course.
So if someone starts a business and prospers, you're going to be unequal to that person because he took a risk, started a business, he's prospering.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's inequality.
Let's look at it, something that's related to talent, right?
Yeah.
The whole Messi and Ronaldo debate will always be there forever and ever, just because one of them was born with particular special talents, the other was born with his own talents, but for the other to reach a particular level, he had to have a crazy amount of dedication and work, while the other could just get the stuff handed to him and it would happen. I'm not going to say who is who, because they'll be in your comments attacking, but if you know football and you followed their journeys, you'll know who is the hard worker and who just had the natural...
You're saying Ronaldo is a hard worker and Messi was handed to him.
But what I'm saying is that if you want to understand that life in itself was never designed to be fair, but we are all meant to be great in our own particular journeys. So don't go and listen to whatever's happening in society. Your measure of success is not the same as mine. Someone will hear me saying that money is not a measure, but to them, all they've ever wanted is the cash. You get me? You give me 100 million today in cash, I'll tell you, it's not going to change my lifestyle the way that I live. Maybe it'll change some of the investment moves I make from a business perspective. But you won't see me tomorrow being different to you. The same way. But to another person, clicks another switch. But for me, is that my guiding principles is that money is a byproduct of you delivering value.
Sure. So that camera there there's a young guy looking at you at home and they're saying, Junior, you don't understand, bruh. I've had it tough. You know, at least you've had the opportunity to go study overseas. I didn't even finish matric. But I hear you. You're a great guy. What advice do you have for me? And what do you think I should start doing tomorrow that can help me in my journey?
So I would say, I mean, having looked at, and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs from different backgrounds, and both old and young, and guys who have been in business all their lives, and guys who just started out of nothing and made things work. I would say, the journey starts with finding yourself. Because in the moment that you find yourself and you listen to your voice, you are able to channel God's voice.
Yeah.
And God, in himself, wants us to conquer. He wants us to be successful. So once you find yourself, you can then figure out which journey he wants to take you on. We can't all be successful in property. We can't all be successful in insurance. And also, the measure of success can never even really be the same. I'd be happy with a property portfolio of 150 million that maybe gives me, let's say, early double-digit returns, after we've offset everything. Somebody will say 150, that's just one for me. You get. But for me, I have no desire to have billions and billions worth of property in a portfolio. Maybe generating billions and billions worth of premiums in insurance. You see, now that's my kind of game, because now I'll know that I'm delivering value to a much
bigger audience.
Exactly. So that's why I say for us as the youth is now, find yourself, number one. So you find yourself in all this clutter that we have around us. Channel yourself to the voice of God, even if it's not our God. Whichever God, you may be Muslim, you may be whatever you believe in. Find a way to meditate on that, and that will be your guiding light. And also in life, you need to have principles, or else at any sign of trouble, just gonna walk.
So I have nothing to add to that, and perhaps what I can say is thank you for taking time out to have this conversation with me on the Winner Circle, and may God bless and increase your own circle. The work that you're doing, may it expand, may you touch more lives. I know that when your businesses grow, you employ more people, you create more opportunities for people, and that's what we're looking for. Especially in Africa, we're looking for more people like you, more people like your family, where we're creating opportunities for other people so that they too can prosper. What people don't understand is that when you prosper in something, it creates an opportunity for me to find a business within that thing that you are doing, right? Insurance works hand in hand with property, works hand in hand with another business and another business. If these people don't start businesses, you've got no businesses to insure.
Of course.
Right? So you guys
don't become successful in their businesses. I don't have a continued clientele, So
exactly.
It's an entire ecosystem.
Exactly. So what we're praying for is for the ecosystem to grow. I want you to grow. I want you to grow as much as you can, and may God give you that growth and prosper you and bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For coming. I appreciate you.
God bless you and your platform.
Sure.
You guys continue to reach many more people, and may people get inspired to find their own voices and to do their own thing.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. If you haven't subscribed, please click on that subscribe button. Remember, life is not fair, right? But where you are is the exact place where you need to start. You can't start where somebody else is.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you can't do, is start where you are not. You have to start where you are. You can't look at somebody else and say, I'm going to start there. No, start where you are, and you can start by clicking on that subscribe button and the notifications bell, sharing this video with more people so that they too can be inspired and something can be instilled in them. And from me and my team broadcasting from Johannesburg, South Africa, it's more than just money. See you in the next episode. Ciao, ciao.
Hey, I go eat something.
Stop lying.